Hello guys and welcome back to another episode. So today it's time for have a Shadow Priest guide for patch 8.2. So I know a lot of you have been waiting for the Shadow Priest guide for patch 8.2 and it's finally here. Shadow Priest is currently what I'm actually maining in World of Warcraft and I really do enjoy playing Shadow Priest. Today we're going to talk about the changes, the stats, the essence, the Azerite, the talents and the rotation. Also you can see down in the comment or even in the description the timestamp to each of these timestamps you can see over there. So if you just want to skip direct stats, you can just click on it and go directly to that part. But else, you're welcome to see the whole guide. Keep in mind this guide has been made through what I feel like is the best Shadow Priest, and also I've been studying every website you know that has some information about the best players and what is currently recommended. So I'm all studied a lot of stuff and made this complete guide, I feel. But of course maybe you're not agreeing, but we'll see. So let's go to the first part, that is going to be the changes. So for patch 8.15 to patch 8.2 we're getting some nerfs. So I mean, yeah, I know it's sad, but that's how it is. We're getting nerfs and that's how life is. So the talent you could get on row 75 is now, they actually nerfed it. So instead of it increases your spiritual spirits by 100% damage, it's now only 50% damage. And this has made that auspicious spirit is not any more than fairy talent by anyone. It's still being used a lot, but it's not the ferret on top anymore. So it's you can say it's a kind of 50% nerf. That's kind of sad. Shadow Whip Pain and Vampiric Touch damage was reduced by 9%. So that's also a little nerf. Not much, but that's how it is. I mean, Blizzard probably thought that this was required. I mean, that's how it is. So yeah, this is the nerf and changes for patch 8.2 from 8.15. So let's go through the stats. So the stats is basically, I'm going to talk about the recommended and simulation of stats. So the recommended stats for a Shadow Priest is, well, the first priority is actually haste and critical strike. Both of them is really important and should be your main focus on your stats. Mastery and versatility is like the number 2 priority, that either you take mastery or versatility, both of them is just increasing your flat damage on your spells, and then you have your intellect. That is the last one, and of course you will get that always from better eye level. The haste one is helping you for actually damaging more over time and your dots having more ticks. So this is the recommended stats, that is like overall the recommended for Shadow Priestess. But what I do recommend is that you actually go in and sim your character on, for example, raid bots. Sim your character and you will get some stats that will tell exactly what your character needs for the gear you have or for the gear you need. So I simmed my main Shadow Priest and it actually told me that I should get haste as priority 1, critical strike as priority 2, versatility as priority 3, mastery as priority 4. That is basically, I mean, we couldn't get closer to what the recommended stat is. That, I mean, haste, crit, versatility, mastery. I mean, it's pretty much the same as the recommended one. So you can see it's pretty easy on which stats is the best one for Shadow Priest. I mean, just take all the haste and the critical strike you can get and you will be plenty good. I mean, that should be just in the corner. So that is the recommended stats I have for you. So the new system in patch 8.2 is the essence, and I mean, I have my favorite essence, and also I've been looking on every top player what they are using essence, and I mean, I couldn't find. I mean, I tried to look up a lot of people, and I tried testing myself, and it was like it's 50-50. I cannot find, you know, like 80% have this. No, it's like 50-50. And what I found out is that these two Azerite essence is the most commonly used, and it's pretty much random. I mean, go to every top 10-20 players and you will find 50-50%. Half of them is using essence of focus on Iris, and half of them is using memory lucid dreams. And I mean, personally, I feel like they both are really great. I'd probably say Essence of Focusing Iris is probably the best one for, I would probably say it's the best one for Mythic Dungeons because it has such a cool burst when you're dealing damage. I mean, if you have a big group of monsters in a mythic dungeon and you use it, focusing areas, the one to the right, or, I mean, sorry, it's reflected. It has such an amazing burst AoE damage. But Memory of Lucid Dreams is increasing your energy regeneration, or whatever the regeneration that Shadow Priest has. Well, basically, the pain or whatever you are generating up as a Shadow Priest, it's increased by 100%. That means you can be inside your void form for a very, very long time when you use this. And of course that will also increase your damage a lot. So, but it's probably I think it's best on single target, just my opinion, but it's up to you. These two are the two meta essence for Shadow Priests, and then I will let it up to you which one you take. So that is the, you can say, the essence I do recommend for you. So, about the Azerite traits, there's actually, it's pretty, I would say, commonly, it's pretty much the same for everyone who uses the Azerite traits. It's kind of the same, I would say. So the main Azerite trait that you're going for is Spiteful Apparitions. Try to see if you can get 3 of them. That would be really good. So try to stack 3 of Spiteful Apparitions. I mean, that would be increasing your damage so much. So please try to get 3 of them. The next one I'm going to mention is Chorus of Insanity. If you can get 2 of them, that would actually be pretty insane. So you have 3 Spiteful Apparitions and 2 Chorus of Insanity. In all, those 5 traits together would increase your damage quite a lot. But again, I'm just recommending 3 Spiteful Apparitions and at least 1 Curse of Insanity. You can also have 2. I mean, 2 is fine with me. 2 is totally fine with me. And the third one I'm recommending is also Whispers of the Damned. So basically you could have 3 Spiteful Apparitions, 1 Curse of Insanity, and then 1 Whispers of the Damned, for example, in that case. But just again, highly recommending 3 Spiteful, 1 to 2 Chorus, and then Whispers of the Damned could be the last one, for example. So that is the main Azerite traits I'm recommending. For the middle ring, the first one of course I recommend is Overwhelming. It will give you a lot of haste, and as you saw, haste is the most important stat for a Shadow Priest. The next one I would recommend is Unstoppable Flames. Critical Strike is really important for a Shadow Priest also, so this one can help you. For example, if you already have a lot of Critical Strike, then you can pretty much ignore it maybe. But still, if you want more Critical Strike, this one can be really helping your DPS in overall. The third one and the fourth one I'm recommending is God Reaper and Heed My Call. Heed My Call is mostly recommended for trash mobs, mythic dungeons and so on, and God Reaper is mostly for single target executing phase. So that is pretty much up to you which one of these 2 you want. But again, Overwhelming and Unstoppable Flames is like a must-have in my opinion. Well, Overwhelming Power is just a very, very must-have in total. So that is actually the Azerite traits I do recommend. So let's talk about the talents. So for the first row, I really recommend Shadow Void. It deals more damage than Mind Blast, it replaces Mind Blast, and you actually get 2 charges of it. I know it has a 1 second more cooldown, but again you're getting 2 charges and it deals more damage. I think that can compensate for it. Shadowed Insight and Fortress of Mind is not really recommended, I would say. Shadow Void is like the meta first row. For the second row, I mean, it's pretty much up to you if you want to increase at speed or if you want some more self-heal. But I would say if you really want to help your team, probably Sand Line is probably the best one as it reduces the cooldown on Vampiric and Brents. So pretty much you can actually help healing your team. I mean, that could be an option. So for the next row, the third one, there's actually a bit fight. For this row, it's pretty split. I mean, if you look on anywhere on the web or players or top players anywhere, it's actually quite split. Top players is using Twist of Fate and Misery, both of these. But if you go in and look on statistics, most people is actually using Dark Void. So that's like, statistic is saying Dark Void is the most used one, but top players is using Misery and Twist of Fate. Let me give my opinion on what I think. Well, Twist of Fate is an execute talent. So if you're going to deal most damage on, let's say, on And enemies that is getting below 35% health, you increase more damage. So basically it's an execute one. So on bosses, it's really great. And right now the affix in Mythic Dungeons, for example, is increasing the boss's health. So that could actually be pretty good. Misery is helping you for spreading out your damage over times quick and fast, so you don't have to use 2 dots, but actually only 1 dot. And it can be really good on trash mob that is more splitted out. But Dark Void is actually an excellent AoE burst when you have a big group of monsters standing in the same place. It will deal tons of damage and it will give them all Shadow Void Pain, but you still have to give them all Vampiric Touch, and that's like, if you use Misery, then you can actually also just give them all Vampiric Touch, which just, Shadow Void Pain. So that's like, yeah. Asking me, I would probably go with Raid, Twist of Fate, Misery, Mythic Dungeons, maybe Dark Void. And I'm a bit splitted on this one here. I think I will let it up to you, but default I would probably go with Misery. On the next row, I would say no matter what, I will recommend using Physic Horror. It's a really great extra stun that you can get, for interrupting enemies or stunning. So now you have a silence and also a stun that is not making them run away, it will just make them stun in one place. For the next row, I'm actually so Auspicious Spirits and Shadow Crash has both really good potential. Auspicious Spirits got a 50% nerf. Before it was 100% damage and now it's 50% damage. It's a really good talent for just turning off the brain and just damage, because you don't have to think about the extra spell. It will just deal damage for you and do whatever you want. But Shadow Crash, after this patch 8.2, Shadow Crash on paper is actually dealing more damage. I know it's sad because now you have to use one more spell, but on paper Shadow Crash is actually more efficient, and it also have a guarantee of damage every 20 seconds, as Auspicious Spirits it's a random one and it now deals lower damage. So on paper wise, damage wise, Shadow Crash is actually the best one. Yeah, that's how it is. For the next 2 rows, I'm only recommending Lingering Insanity and Legacy of the Void. No discussions there. Lingering of Insanity, really cool, give a lot of haste, and Legacy of the Void, I would not live without this one. So these 2 talents is just the meta on this row, no discussions, and there. So that is the stats, or not stats, that is the talents I do recommend as a Shadow Priest. I think I said talents, yeah, talents. Okay, so let's talk about the rotation as a Shadow Priest. So rotation wise, Shadow Priest is actually one of the, I would say, easiest spellcasters for finding out how to deal damage. So let's go through the opener on how Shadow Priest actually works. So if you can see the tank is beginning to close and getting close to the target, I would always, before the tank pulls, at the same time, I'll just disable this, at the same time he's actually pulling and you know he will be attacking the target in for 1 second, I would always precast a Shadow Word Void. Or a Shadow Word Pain. If you're using Mind Blast or Shadow Word Void, I would recommend Shadow Word Void. I would always precast that one. So you see the tank, he's running against the target, I would always precast Shadow Word Void, so it deals damage the same time he's actually attacking the target. It's pretty cool. After that, I would begin to use my Vampiric Touch, and of course if you're talented into Misery, you only have to use Vampiric Touch and not Shadow Word Pain, because Shadow Word Pain. Vampiric Touch and no Shadow Word Pain, because Misery is going to put them both on for you. So that problem is fixed. So again, just for capping up, you see the tank, he's beginning to charge against, precast a Shadow Word Void, then use your Vampiric Touch, then use your Shadow Word Void and Mind Flay until you can actually use Void Eruption. Then you go into your Void Eruption, you use Void Bolt every time you can, you use Shadow Word Void every time you can, use Void Bolt every time you can, use Shadow Word Void every time you can, use Void Bolt every time you can, use Shadow Word Void every time you can. And those 2 spells are just, you just have to use these 2 spells all the time, just use them every time you can. But also very important, see that your damage over time abilities is active. If you're inside Void, Eruption, or Void form and your damage over time abilities is not active, you're wasting your time, because these two spells is your mage damage. And I know when you use your, what is it called, your Void Bolt, it's extending the duration of the spells, your damage over time, by 3 seconds. So I mean, if you use it frequently, it can help you keep up your damage over time all the time. There's a little twist, because it actually has a 3.8 cooldown. That means you will lose 1 second on your damage over time abilities every time you use this one. So you'll not be able to hold them up 100%. Maybe if you have enough of haste, because it also reduces the cooldown when you have more haste, then maybe it will actually affect it. But else, nah. So again, let's just take the rotation one more time. So precast a Shadow Word Void, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Void, Mind Flay until you can use Void Eruption. Now use Void Bolt and Shadow Word every time you can, and Mind Flay when you don't have anything to do. Void Bolt, Void, Void Bolt, Mind Flay. Void Bolt, Void, Mind Flay. Void Bolt, Mind Flay. Void Bolt. And done with the rotation. Now, I've only talked about the rotation. What about your cooldowns? You have 1 damage cooldown as a Shadow Priest. You have Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend is a pretty cool talent. It increases your insanity. Well, it gives you insanity every time it attacks. It generates 3 insanity every time it attacks, and it's for 15 seconds and you're getting a helper. So basically you're summoning a little friend who's going to deal damage with you, and it's actually quite helpful. So what I recommend is, maybe don't use it in the start. Maybe it's actually benefiting from haste. So maybe don't use it in the start. Maybe wait for either you have overwhelming power that is proccing so you get more haste, or maybe wait for lingering insanity to help you get more haste. But you can also use it in the start. So for example, how your rotation could look like would be Shadow Word Void, Vampiric Embrace, Shadow Fiend, Shadow Word Void, Mind Flay, and now Eruption, and back to your normal rotation. Because your Shadow Word Fiend is actually helping you. It's basically helping you getting up your insanity, but it's really getting affected by your haste. So what I recommend is, maybe wait when you go into your Void form. Maybe wait with using in Shadow Fiend so you actually have some stacks of Void form, because every time you get some more stacks of your Void form, where have we have it here, Void form. Every time you're inside there, it's giving you and grinding additional 0.5 haste every second. So basically, the longer time you stay inside Void form, you get more haste. So maybe wait for some additional stacks of haste and then use it, because then it will help you getting more stacks of haste. So basically what I'm saying, you can use Shadow Fiend in the start if you want, but also if you really want to press the damage, wait before you have some kind of a haste boost and then use it, and you will not regret it. Then let's talk about, for example, if you're also using Shadow Crash, as I also recommended in your talents. What it would actually be very good for is, for example, in your rotation, when you have precast the Shadow Word Void, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Void, then I would use it now, Shadow Crash. Basically use it when every time Shadow Word Void is on cooldown, I would actually use it. Every time Shadow Word Void is on cooldown, and of course your debuff is active, I would use it. Because it actually generates 20 insanity, and your Shadow Word Void is actually only generating 15. So it will actually also help you. Also in your Void form, also use it. So basically it should be like here, number 6. So basically how your spell should look like is like this, because then when you actually are entering Void form, then I can see, okay, I have to use my number 3 always. 4, 3, and now my number 5, and back to my number 4, and my number 3. So you can see these 3 spells, I have to use them all the time, every time I'm inside Void form. And of course use my Mind Flay when I don't have anything else to do. So I hope you get the point that in void form, use as many Shadow Void, use as many Void Bolt, use Shadow Crash every time you can. And when you don't have any of these abilities ready, Mind Flay is your filler. You know, it's instead of having an auto attack, it's basically your auto attack Mind Flay. But mostly important, always keep Vampiric Touch active on your target, like always. This is basically the rotation. If your healer or if anyone is getting a lot of damage and you want to help, Vampiric Embrace is actually a really cool cooldown that can help your team. Fills you with the Embrace of Shadow synergy for 15 seconds, causing you to heal a nervy ally for 100 of 6% of any single target shadow spells damage you deal. So you can really help out your healers with this talent, and if you're using San Leon, it will only have a 1.3 minute cooldown. Really great talent. I can really highly recommend it. So that is basically the rotation. So I do hope you like this guide on Shadow Priestess. I mean, we have been through changes, stats, essence, Azerite, talents, rotation. So after watching this guide, you should be completely fine with playing Shadow Priest on a normal level. I'm not teaching you how to be the pro player that can join a Mythic guild the next day. I'm just learning you all the basics and all the good things about Shadow Priestess. So you should have a really good core on how to play Shadow Priestess. So really, thanks for watching. Press the like button if you like this video. Leave down a comment if you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, for example. I'm open for anything. So thanks for watching and have a great night.